Hello, hello, and welcome. I'm Jamila Payne, writer and crafter at Color Me Crafty. I am going to walk you through how to make a retro sunset design. This is the design that we'll be creating. I'm going to walk you through how to create this in Design Space, finding free fonts and images, as well as how to get it cut out and pressed. Okay, let's get into it. In a blank canvas, the very first thing we're going to do is grab a circle, and I'm not going to worry about sizing it yet. I am going to make it just a little bit bigger for me to work with. And we want to split this into even sections. So the way we're going to do that is we are going to go to shapes and grab a rectangle, and I'm going to make it the size that I want for my circle or for my sections. And I want to leave a little bit of space in between each where you want that retro sunsetty look. And I'm going to turn this off for a second. Actually, no, because we need it for the size. All right, so this last one could go. And what I'm going to do next is select all of my rectangles, and I want to distribute vertically and then center horizontally, and then I'm going to combine. I'm going to weld all of those together. Now we're going to select both our rectangles and our circle and click on slice. Get rid of that layer, which is just the outline of our rectangles, and we're going to get rid of one of the circles as well. So let's select our remaining two layers, go to combine, and click on subtract. Now if you look, you have two layers here. We're going to merge layers. So now we need to separate each of these pieces, and to do that you are going to need another rectangle. You're actually going to use several, so I'm just going to paste a few on here. That way I don't have to keep going back to get a new rectangle. And I'm just going to stretch that over, select it all, and click on slice. And we're just keeping the piece that we need. And you'll just continue to do that until you have all of your pieces sliced out. We have all of our colors, and at this point you can go in and change the colors so that you are using the colors that you're going to use on your shirt or whatever it is you're making. I'm just adding some random colors for now. I'm actually going to remove these last few on the bottom, and let's add some text. Now once you have added your text, you can go ahead and figure out what fonts you want to use. And I want to only show my free and my purchase. So we want to find a font that we really like for this. Let's close that. And this is way too big. Most of my t-shirt designs, I kind of figure it out as I go. So I think I want this to curve around that circle. I want to curve around the circle. So I'm going to go up here to curve and then move it around until I get to a bend that I like. And I actually think that I want to use a different font for this. All right, I think I like this better. So we're going to make this a little bigger and curve it a little more. A lot more. Smaller. You'll just make adjustments as you go. So last, we are going to make this smaller. And then I think that it would be cute to have a plant cut out right inside here. So I'm going to go over to images. And again, we can filter that out to just show free things. And let's type in plant. There's not a ton of free options in here, but I'm going to choose this watering can and then stick it right in the middle here. Let's select these and I'm going to attach them for now, and then go back up here and select those two, and I want to make sure that this is centered before I cut it out. Now I can detach this, and again we are going to have to go one layer at a time cutting this watering can out. So we'll select this top layer and the watering can and click on slice. Middle watering can, slice, and you just keep going until you have all your slices. Now we know that these black pieces can go, and there's more somewhere. And then you'll have to look through and pull out the pieces that you don't want to keep. We got one more, and then you can go back and recolor your pieces, and you can do whatever colors you want. You can make it say whatever you want it to say, but that's how we design a shirt using only free images in Cricut Design Space. If you've ever struggled with pricing your handmade products, you're not alone. I see so many makers underpricing their work, barely covering materials, let alone making a real profit. But that stops today. It's frustrating to spend hours creating something beautiful only to wonder, am I even making money on this? That's why I created the Crafty Cost Calculator. I needed a simple way to take the guesswork out of pricing my crafts. I just plug in my material costs, time, and a few other details, and boom, I get a price that actually makes me money. And this calculator includes an automated inventory. The Crafty Cost Calculator calculates pricing for both retail and wholesale. It factors in your time, materials, profit margins, labors, and more. It helps you price with confidence. So no more second guessing, and it'll save you hours of frustration and math headaches. If you're ready to stop guessing and start pricing for profit, go ahead and grab the Crafty Cost Calculator today. Don't let bad pricing keep you from making money. Get your hands on this game-changing tool now and finally charge what your work is worth. So let's go ahead and get this thing cut out. You're going to need a t-shirt. Our design has 5 colors, so I'm using 5. I have Caesar brown, yellow, Texas orange, orange soda, and then I have this red. I do not believe this one is Caesar. You need your green mat. I have my brayer and scissors, and then weeding tools, and of course your machine and heat press. So first we need to get these situated on the mat, and to avoid having to cut 5 different mats, we are going to arrange things so that we can cut it in 1 or 2 mats. So let's go ahead and resize this. I am going to select it all, and I want this 10.5. And that's just my preference for an extra large shirt. So I'm going to go ahead and click on make, and it automatically is putting on 12 by 24 mat. So I'm going to change that to 12 by 12. And then I'm going to move go ahead and mirror this and then move some things around. I'm going to stick that right in the center here, making sure it's not overlapping any of the other letters. And then I'm going to go ahead and get this red on here. And I know I need at least 6 inches of red. So let's get that on. And I can cut around here. So I'm just cutting what would be the excess off. And then I'm going to use my brayer to make sure that it's on here good. Our next color is the orange. So I'm going to go to that matte, and I'm going to click on these 3 dots here and go to move object, and I'm moving it over to the red. And then we're going to move that right there to about 7 inches. And I'm going to cut off a strip so that it fits. And you can use a ruler and mat and everything to get more precise with your cuts, but I am not. Then we have yellow. Let's see if we can fit this on here too. I believe we can. The yellow, we'll put it right under the orange. And then we have our brown. Same thing. I'm going to move it to the red, and let's see if we can get this guy on here. Yep, same thing. And then we have our last piece, and I'm not sure if it's going to fit, but we're going to try. Oh yeah, we'll be fine. I had to go and rearrange things. So our last piece is this orange, and I'm going to try to make it fit. And this orange is actually the Texas orange. So let's see if we can make it fit anywhere. We might have to move some things, like we can move this yellow over here and make this the Texas orange. And then our yellow is going to go right over here and on this edge. So this way we'll be able to get everything cut out on one mat without having to use 5 mats. So I'm going to go back up and make sure that my mirror is on. It is, and then click continue. I am going to use the vinyl setting. I always use the vinyl setting on with Caesar vinyl, and then get the mat into my machine. This piece doesn't want to stay down, but I'm just going to push it back down and go ahead and get it cut out. We're going to get everything weeded out. Let's get this Cricut machine out of the way and finish getting everything weeded out. We are going to preheat the heat press to 320 and start getting our shirt together and ready to get pressed. If you guys have been watching me for a while, then you know that this is my favorite way to find the center of my shirt. Give it a quick press. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but now I have a line down the center of my shirt to help me with aligning the design. And I think the best way to do this is going to be that first, the first part of the text, the "I can't hear you." So what I'm going to do is cut off some of this excess first, and I am going to give it a quick side to side fold. And I just want to make sure that it's pretty well lined up, and give it a quick pinch at the top, quick pinch at the bottom. And then I'm going to line it up on my shirt, and you want to do 3 to 4 finger widths from the top. And I just usually eyeball it. and go ahead and give that a quick press. These first couple presses, you do not need to do the full amount of time. You just need enough time to be able to peel that carrier sheet. So the next piece is this yellow, and I am going to cut my carrier sheet close to this yellow so that I can try to press more than one at a time. And you'll just line your design up. I mixed my colors up somehow, so my brown is up here. I don't know how I mixed my colors up, but that's what I get for trying to cut everything at once. I'm not going to recut these. I'm just going to use them as is. And you'll just want to make sure that it's straight, number one, and that you have the spacing pretty consistent. And then at the end, what